Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome back to F1 Manager. Yes, I apologise, it's been a little while since we've played some F1 Manager on the channel, but I thought, you know, I wanted to try and make sure I got a little bit ahead on the videos before we dive back in with the game. Of course, you know, I didn't want to do what I did a couple of weeks ago where I obviously did like 2 videos and then kind of stopped playing the game again. So I've been recording a little bit ahead. I've got a few videos, you know, in the backlog ready to go, of course, throughout the month of October. Now, we will be diving back in with the Alfa Romeo career tomorrow, so if you're new around here, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed. But I wanted to dive in with some of the race replay moments, of course. Obviously, I want to do some of the race replays, I want to do some of the exclusive scenarios inside F1 Manager 23. So I thought, you know, we may as well start from the beginning again. Maybe after Grand Prix, what I'll do, of course, is when the new one is added, I'll do that, and obviously talk about the Grand Prix from the real weekend. But of course, you know, there was no race today when this video goes live, so we're going to dive in with the Bahrain GP race moment there. We're racing, looks by the looks of it, with Williams. We've got a 14-lap event there, and the objective then is Williams didn't have high expectations for Bahrain, but after a strong first stint, Albon finds himself in P10 with just 14 laps to go. Thanks to a fast pit stop during the virtual safety car, he's got good grip on his tyres and a chance to score vital points for the team. Let's head into it then and see what we can do. So the goal is try and get a single point with the team. And like I've said, you know, these F1 Manager videos, I want to make them sort of a little bit more chatty, a little bit more fun, and just sort of sit down and play the game. Now, I'm looking and a couple of other management style games as well that I might bring onto the channel. So you know, I'm looking at the moment at Motorsport Manager as well on mobile. Might do a little bit with that game in the near future then. So of course, you know, these are based on the real world data. Of course, you know, what's going on in the real Grand Prix. So you can see Verstappen is a little way ahead of Sergio Perez there. I think the deltas obviously will fix themselves in just a moment. But Albon has got Tsunoda and De Vries a little way behind. Logan Sargent is down in P14. And obviously we're just going to get in with it then. So we've got a little bit of extra fuel still in the car late on in the day. Looks like we've got quite a lot of cars in front of us on one sets of the hard compound tyres. We can see Charles Leclerc and Oscar Piastri, of course, you know, a bit of a throwback to the absolute nightmares that they obviously had in the opening race of the year. You know, Ferrari should have had a podium out in Sakir, but of course didn't. But yeah, I mean, Verstappen might lap us by the end of this as well. I think we are, yeah, we're apparently 33 seconds behind, but I don't think that's quite right there, as you can see Verstappen making his way up in towards the final few corners. So yeah, we might find ourselves a lap down from the Dutchman. You can see all the deltas obviously slowly fixing themselves as we head into the final few laps here. But yeah, Sargent is most definitely going to get lapped before this race is down and out. But yeah, we'll just try and use a little bit of the fuel, kind of see obviously where the gaps are then. So it looks like we've got about 2.5 seconds to Yuki Tsunoda behind us. I don't really think sensibly we're going to be able to catch Bottas up by the end of the race, but we are going to have to start going a little bit more aggressive on our tyres here, as it looks like Tsunoda behind us is apparently quite going for it then at the moment. He's obviously got De Vries and Zhou Guanyu in hot pursuit, and obviously, yeah, Sargent still, I mean, he's about to lose the lead lap to Max Verstappen anyway. But yeah, hopefully, obviously, we can just try and keep Albon ahead of him then. We'll run a little bit of a deploy. Of course, you know, the battery usage still seems to be such an important part of F1 Manager 23. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back into the game a little bit more. Like I said, you know, it's certainly got a few issues, has F1 Manager, but it is still quite good fun. And like I said, you know, of course, now, obviously, it's not on the main channel. You know, like I've said, it's not going to be hyper-edited anymore. It's going to be a bit sort of more, you know, chilled out. You know, relax, kind of sit back, enjoy the game, play the game a little bit more, you know. Hopefully you guys enjoy that as well, because I do still get a lot of you that are asking me, of course, you know, where is F1 Manager, you know, why aren't I playing the game a little bit more on the channel, all that good stuff. So, you know, it's greatly appreciated that obviously, you know, there does still seem to be this small little, you know, ecosystem inside this game. And, you know, maybe if I find the time as well, I might start streaming, you know, some of this game as well. You know, maybe I'll do kind of what like I've done on F123, where I have like an offline, you know, career mode, and then I have like a streaming career mode as well. You know, that could be quite good fun. We'll bring out, Sergeant even onto the deploy as well there, but looks like, yeah, I think Sonoda is really going for it as well at the moment, because it seems like we've opened up a decent old gap to Zhou Guanyu and Nick DeFries once again. Are they? No, they're both. DeFries is on hards. I think Zhou Guanyu is probably going to have to look after his tyres towards the end of the afternoon. But what I'm tempted to do actually is see if Sonoda gets the run past me. You can see his last lap was a couple of tenths quicker there, despite how much we were pushing. So it might be worth letting Sonoda by and then just hanging on to him late on in the day. Obviously, just sort of see, you know, how quick he is, obviously, when we're in the DRS. Of course, you know, there's a lot of DRS zones around this circuit. So, yeah, we go Sonoda inside the range now. So we'll probably see him try to make a bit of a move in the very near future. But yeah, of course, does always make me laugh as well on this game. You know, obviously you basically you tend to find, especially if, you know, a Williams or an AlphaTauri or something like that, you are often abandoning one driver and just kind of focusing on the other one then. So are we going to see, I mean, Sonoda's got a pretty good run as we head back down in towards turn one. Let's get back on in the cockpit cam. You know, that was always quite good fun on this game. There thinks about a move in towards that first corner, but can't quite make anything happen that time round. So again, you know, we'll live to fight another day as we head back up the hill here. But again, you can see you're getting a decent little run as we head up in towards turn 4 there. But looks like we've got enough, of course. You know, we know how good that Williams is down the straights. We've seen that time and time again in real life, and generally speaking, it does still feel like F1 Manager kind of simulates that kind of thing pretty well still within the game. You know, it seems like a lot of the cars have pretty accurate characteristics. I know recently, I believe the Alfa Romeo the Alfa Romeo didn't get nerfed, so to say, but the requirements for the team actually got nerfed a bit. You know, rather than trying to finish 7th, you only now had to finish 8th, I believe, in the first season of career mode. And also, apparently, Mercedes were really poor as well in the game. It's not something I'd noticed particularly, but yeah, apparently they'd struggled quite a lot as well. So I think they've been given a bit of a performance buff, I mean, relative to Aston Martin and a few of the other teams there. And I mean, yeah, Alonso still is in hot pursuit of Carlos Sainz, you know, late on towards the day. But Albon is, you know, doing a pretty good job just keeping Sonoda at bay at the moment. You know, maybe he's going to lose the position as we head back down in towards turn 1. You know, probably Sonoda's best chance for a run on this lap there. You can see Alex is still defending from him as best as possible. Here goes Yuki Tsunoda, though, down at the first corner. And yeah, I think there we go. So Tsunoda now has moved by. But again, like I said, you know, we're kind of happy just to sit here, obviously make sure we stay in the DRS. And then, you know, with a couple of laps to go, then we'll really go for it, because we've still got a little bit spare. There we go. I mean, he's already completed the move again, so I don't think Tsunoda's really able to get away. We're pretty even on the tyre wear, though, as we make our way through the final couple of corners. But yeah, quite clearly then we can seemingly stick with him late on in the afternoon here, so we may as well. There we go again. We've pulled off the move as Verstappen is closing in on us slowly but surely here. So whether he'll get us before the final lap of the race, of course, we will wait and see. But yeah, now I think Albon obviously is just kind of sat back in behind him. I mean, you know, maybe as we head into the final 3 laps, we can see Tsunoda. Don't know if you can actually see. No, you can't quite see the battery levels, unfortunately. That'd be quite handy. You know, if we could just get that extra bit of data from the AlphaTauri car in front of us. But yeah, now I think it's probably time to start pushing again. You know, late on in the day. I think I want to say Verstappen's probably going to get us, especially, you know, if we battle any more as we head back down in towards turn 1 there. So it might only be 2 laps to go now of the race, so we can really afford to start pushing a little bit more, and, you know, we'll just get him a little bit more aggressive on the tyres. Always wonder why overtake mode was removed from the game, of course, because it gave you that little bit of extra oomph down the end of the straights there. But gotta remember as well, of course, you know, you need to be using the overtake mode a lot earlier on the straights, as yeah, really now starting to worry. Verstappen's still a couple of seconds back as we're going to try and get a run up the hill. The only thing I'm quite nervous of now, of course, is whether, you know, one of these two cars is going to trip over trying to let Verstappen by, you know, say if it's on the final lap or something like that. But yeah, I mean, back past Yuki Tsunoda once again, so we can put the car back into neutral here. And I think now, yeah, especially, obviously, you know, with that little bit of extra fuel in the car, we might just be able to open up the gap slightly there. You can see it goes up to about 0.3 of a second as Verstappen now onto the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. Of course, you know, we've got to remember that lap counter, of course, you know, is still for Verstappen, not for ourselves there. So we've still got to be a little bit careful with the fuel. But yeah, we're definitely going to get lapped before the end of the race here. Is Tsunoda going to let him by? Yes, he is. That's beautiful for us. So Tsunoda's going to drop back drastically behind us there instantly. The gap up to a good 2 seconds. So we're going to try and go for a bit of a deploy and see, obviously, if we can try and open up the gap to Verstappen through the final couple of corners. Very, very sassy response there from Alex Albon as well. But yeah, is Verstappen going to get close enough? Of course, you know, even if, you know, the Dutchman laps Tsunoda and doesn't lap us before the end of the race, that's not too bad in the grand scheme of things there. But yeah, Verstappen then onto the final lap he goes of this race. Tsunoda trying to use him for the DRS as best as possible. It looks like hard tyres, they're really now starting to fall off late on in the day. Gasly a few seconds up the road there, and Sargent, I mean, he's closing in on Magnussen and Zhou Guanyu here, but I don't think he's going to be able to do anything in these final couple of laps as the tyres have really fallen off. But yeah, are we going to let Verstappen through somewhere useful? Just about. Actually, that was pretty good positioning by Alex Albon there. Just made sure, of course, that Tsunoda hasn't got an opportunity to get round him as well, and we'll try and use the Dutchman's DRS into these final few corners of the race as well. They just make sure that we keep Yuki Tsunoda at bay as best as we can. Of course, you know, you always get the DRS if you're within 1 second of the car in front, whether they're a lap down, a lap up, or obviously battling with them on the circuit as well. So I think as long as obviously we keep it clean and tidy down this straight, don't try and go for anything on Verstappen, it looks like as we make our way in towards the final few corners here, we are going to do enough. Interval, where are we? 1.3 seconds ahead of Yuki Tsunoda. So as Max Verstappen then rounds his way through the final couple of corners of the Bahrain Grand Prix then, it looks like we're going to do it. First challenge on F1 Manager. Love that, of course, you know. Like I said, you know, we'd love to try and go through and actually 100% this as best as possible, of course, before F1 Manager 24 comes out. But out of the final corner then, Alex Albon going to pick up a point for Williams, just like he did in real life there. We follow Max Verstappen home using good strategy to obviously make sure that we kept him at bay. Sargent, you know, really struggling towards the end of this one. Did actually get quite close to Zhou Guanyu on the final lap there. I think, yeah, his tyres had also fallen off. But of course, you know, often with these scenarios, it's just about trying to make sure you score. You know, you get the objective that you need with one of the cars there. And of course, especially, you know, at a track like Bahrain where we don't have to worry about the weather and all that kind of thing as well there. You know, we can walk away, I think, quite happy with ourselves from that result there. Let's just see, you know, there's nothing else that we've got to run through once the race is done and dusted.
There's Alex Albon making his way back.
Just managing a finish in the points, having crossed the line in 10th.
Well, Max Verstappen can add yet another podium to his already impressive record. And we've certainly kicked things off in style here at the Bahrain Grand Prix. And that is about that for this weekend's action here in Bahrain.
The teams now look ahead to the next round, where they'll duel it out in the sand dunes of Saudi Arabia.
Well, there we go then. Challenge complete in our first one here inside F1 Manager. Williams, I'm sure quite rightly, happy with that point there. 1:33.4 fastest lap for Verstappen, and we were only 8 tenths away, all things considered there. But a good way to kickstart the championship, of course, for the Williams team. And obviously, if you have a look, we get a nice little trophy as well if we head back out to the main menu there. If we scroll all the way down on the race replays, You can see we get a nice little trophy to kickstart. So like I said, you know, I'd love to try and go through all of these. I would also obviously love to go through all of the exclusive scenarios as well. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very, very soon with more F1 Manager content. A massive thank you to all of my YouTube members and my Patreon supporters for their continued donations to help my work. These things go much further than I think a lot of you ever realise and allow me to continue making content full time here on YouTube. So if you want to support me from as little as £1 a month and be featured on all of these end clips, either click the join button next to the subscribe or head over to my Patreon. There's a link down in the description.